So my talk is called The Case for 56 States. In this talk, I'm going to argue that we should extend statehood to all major U.S. territories. And here are a list of all 6. They are American Samoa, Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Washington, D.C. You can see them on the following slides. So my first point of why we should extend the offer to statehood is that it's a denial of founding principles, that it's a denial of the principle of no taxation without representation. So at the time, there was no United States. The people within the United States understood themselves to be British citizens. They were subject to British law, subject to the British Parliament, and they were being taxed without representation in the British Parliament. And these were understood as being a denial of the traditional rights of Englishmen. And this is part of the reason why one of the founders of conservatism, the Irish MP Edmund Burke, supported the concerns of the American colonists. My second point deals with the notion of the expanding circle. It's from the book, The Expanding Circle. It comes from the philosopher Peter Singer, who argues that the group of people we empathize with has grown over time, right? And the self is expanded to the family, then the tribe, then the nation, then to humanity. And I think we can see something similar at work in American history. I think we can read American history as the gradual expanding of full rights of citizenship. I would say that, throughout American history, people have been subject to the coercive power of the state, but not part of the nation, right? And the state, say in the antebellum South, and I'm defining the state as the monopoly of the legitimate use of physical force within a given territory. And you see how kind of this notion of nationhood or citizenship has been expanded over time, right? First, the right to vote was confined exclusively to propertied white men, then to all white men, then as the result of the 14th Amendment, at least in a legal sense, African American men. With the 19th Amendment, it was expanded to women. Then, with the decisions of the Warren Court in the 1950s and the Civil Rights Movement in the 60s, it was expanded to universal suffrage. Universal except for the territories. And this leads me to kind of the background to this idea and kind of the maybe political mechanics of how this might change how politics functions. Why is it that after the 2016, so many people started talking about the industrial Midwest? And I think the answer lies in this chart, right? You see in 2012 the results of the election, you see the industrial Midwest in the oval, then in 2016 you see the industrial Midwest in the oval, and the results look different. And so part of the reason I think so many people were writing and thinking so much about the white working class and kind of these, deindustrialized cities was because they had political power. They were being empathized with because they had political power. And I think that's part of the reason why we should give, at least, or offer statehood to all existing U.S. territories, because it would give us an incentive or really give us a shared fate with a lot of outlying territories outside of the continental United States. And I want to close by remixing Marx in his formulation on Hegel's idealism, and say that maybe we should turn nationalism on its head and extract the universalist kernel from its nativist shell. Thank you.